Every single conversation in Canada keeps circling back to the same thing: how expensive life has become. Rent keeps jumping, groceries are up 20%.
Hey, price of Canadian groceries are ridiculous.
Homes that were once $400,000 are now close to $1 million. And now what was comfortable 10, 20 years ago for a net income doesn't feel comfortable anymore. And yet you might see posts about someone being able to somehow buy their first house, or the huge profit a couple made by flipping their first property. And building in the back of your mind, you might feel this pressure that you're falling behind financially. The truth is, the economy and our country has changed substantially. And many of these old myths and rules no longer apply like they did 40, 50 years ago. In this video, I'll go through 5 great lessons from the book, The Psychology of Money, and how you can adapt and use these rules for our changing world that we're in today. You'll see what actually builds wealth in the new reality. Lesson 1. Owning a home is a smart investment. For decades, owning a home was seen as a badge of maturity.
Show you where I have made my home.
Showing people that, well, you made it. You're financially responsible. Well, what if that narrative no longer fits? Across Canada, house prices have grown 3 to 4 times faster than wages. Back 10, 20, 30 years ago, a home costs about 35 to 40% of a person's net income. Now, it costs roughly 50 to even maybe 60% of a person's net income just to be able to buy and continue maintaining and owning a home.
4x? Because that same house in Toronto now costs more than 4 times as much money, $1.1 million, and household income hasn't even doubled. I mean, the ratios are all out of whack.
And if you buy a house and housing prices decline like they are now, you're kind of screwed. In some cities, owning a home is 10 times the median net income. I'm going to take heat for this, but I don't care. Owning a home is no longer a financial milestone. It's now a financial trap. Morgan, in his book, The Psychology of Money, emphasizes that owning a home is no longer a guaranteed investment, that waiting, renting, or maybe buying a smaller home is a wiser choice depending on your financial situation. Owning a home is good, but it should not come at the price of your financial well-being. The true value in owning a home is because it's safe, secure, a place to call home, and not just the potential of one day maybe appreciation in the value. Young Canadians feel this deeply. I've met couples that are working 80-hour work weeks, have a side hustle, are struggling to save up for that down payment, or already own a home and are struggling to hold on to it. They're contributing half their net income, or even more in some cases, just to be able to hold on to that home. It's not that owning a home is bad. It's that if you buy it too early or at the wrong price, it can hijack your wealth building potential. When over half of your net income is going just to be able to hold on to that home, it really limits the amount you can put away and invest in other assets, such as index funds, retirement accounts, and small businesses where, well, believe it or not, the risks can be far less. Renting isn't throwing your money away. When home ownership forces you down a path in which you accumulate debt faster than your wages grow. The goal isn't for status. It's to own a home when the numbers make sense. Many people hold on to the old school way of thinking that renters are, well, considered less financially stable and reliable. Even employers do this. Hey, do me a favor, hit the like button if you're getting something out of this video. Much appreciated. Lesson 2. If you work hard, you'll be financially secure. A generation ago, working hard was enough. It meant predictable pay and steady progress. But today, working hard without leverage just means exhaustion. I know couples that are working 40-hour work weeks. They feel like they're drowning every day. They hate their job. They go home and they're just completely exhausted. Stop me if this sounds familiar, but they just crash out on the couch and you just have no energy because you've given 110% at work to a job you don't even like. Morgan emphasizes in his book, The Psychology of Money, how working hard is no longer guaranteeing financial security, that it takes a different set of skills to hold on to that money than it did to acquire it. Even high income earners can face the same dilemma if they take on too much risk and don't have the behaviors for saving and sensible investments. This is because the economy has changed. We were told, well, by our parents and grandparents to trade hours for dollars, go to work, and we earn a certain amount of income that we take home. This no longer applies. Labor is no longer the currency. Ownership of assets are. Let's say we have two friends and they each invest $80,000 over 10 years. The first friend puts it into an investment that grows at 9%. The other puts it into a savings account that only grows by 2%. At the end of 10 years, the first friend has an accumulated wealth of $189,000, while the second friend has only an accumulated wealth of $97,000, barely enough to outpace inflation. So the new currency that you should be focusing on is investments, education, and skill growth. This is how to get out of the trap of trading your time for money. Now, your net worth depends less on the amount you earn and your job title, and more on the amount you're able to save and invest. In case we haven't met, I'm Aaron, a 20-year corporate accountant and analyst living in Western Canada. I talk about personal finance, investing, and investment portfolios. Consider subscribing if this is of interest to you. Lesson 3, debt is a tool to build a better life. For over a decade, cheap credit gave Canadians the illusion of financial security. Interest rates hit rock bottom levels and banks practically encouraged taking on debt. A home equity line of credit no longer became just in case of emergencies, but a necessary lifestyle engine. People need now to dip into that just to be able to continue to fund their lifestyle and hold on to their house. People tapped into that home line of credit. On paper, it looked fine. And well, with home prices rising, the debt was manageable. Then interest rates doubled, and suddenly the comfort vanished. Monthly obligations ballooned, and suddenly people realized that they're treating their homes like ATMs. And I know many people want to be able to buy a house and just to have something that you own. There's something to be said about that. Not having to worry that, well, my landlord will hike my rent, or that I have something that I can go home to, change however I want. I get all that. But owning a home, if you feel like you're stuck on a treadmill of fear and I can't lose my job because I won't be able to afford the payments on my house, like it's fear that is driving this, and everybody is scrambling to be able to buy a house. Suddenly, if interest rates and prices decline and people are able to get in, I'm sure there'll be many that will try, even if they can't actually financially afford it. Morgan emphasizes and states that it's better to be wealthy in terms of your time and life, not simply in terms of your net income on paper. The book's main point is that your behavior and mindset are more important than intelligence when it comes to managing your money. I'll give you two options. The first is you're very, very rich, like millions of dollars. However, you're going to be busy all day with meetings and appointments, and you'll be working long hours at the office. The second is that you have just enough money to get by, live decently, but you are in control of your life and time. You get to say what you do each day. Which option would you really choose? I recently read about a Toronto family that used their home equity line of credit to take 2 vacations per year and to upgrade their house. Now, since interest rates, I can't say it. Now, since interest rates have jumped, they're struggling just to be able to make the payments and have been forced to rent out part of their house. Stories like this aren't unique. If you look, they're actually everywhere. Debt emphasizes gains and losses. When interest rates are low, it's easy and it's fueled by optimism. However, when interest rates start to climb, it really reveals a person's weaknesses and frailty. That's because the same thing that helps to build your wealth, compounding, can also work against you. If you have high debt, you know this. All of that you're working, those long hours, are going to service your debt. So it's like trading your time for debt. Lesson 4, you're falling behind if you don't keep up. It's hard to not scroll through social media, right, and see all these posts of people going to Italy, or some gorgeous woman leaning on some car that, well, she probably doesn't even own, or people flying off in big jets, which it's been revealed are fake. But we see this all over the place. Accumulations of wealth, people flaunting all the money they have. And there's an innate fear that people, I felt this for years, well, I have to keep up, right? Or I have to show, hey, I have the ability to buy this if I want. Don't fall for it. Morgan says in his book that the social comparison game is a game that you simply can't win. And you'll never win because there's no ceiling. If you somehow manage to get this, in 3 or 6 months, there'll be something else. Morgan emphasizes to define what is enough for you according to your own timeline and financial goals? When would you actually be satisfied and feel like you have enough in your life? The next time you see a social media post with some financial guru or Instagram model flashing, you want to know how I made this amount of money through day trading or simple investment strategies that I can teach you, try to pause the video and take a real good look at the money if you feel like you're financially behind. This money is fake. It's fake. It's just prop money. You can buy this money on Amazon for like whole stacks of it for like $20. So if you pause it and take a real good look, yeah, it's just fake play money for videos. It's not real. The truth is that much of wealth that people flaunt and show on social media is an illusion, right? It's kind of like Facebook, right? When you go on a vacation with your family and you spend about, I don't know, 70% of the time, fighting or quit it, you kids, stop it. Okay, smile nice for the picture. And you look all great and happy. Okay, we're a happy family, Kate. For these 5 seconds, Kate, that's going on social media. No one will post when they're fighting with the kids or arguing, or the wife and husband are sitting there talking and fighting about money. You'll never see any of that. Same thing on Instagram or all these other social media. Nobody's going to post the bad financial hardships that they have. They'll just select certain things to show you of the lush vacation they went on once in the last 10 years. So you're only seeing the highlights. But recent stats and media releases show that for every $1 a Canadian actually owns, they actually owe in debt $1.3 to $1.6. So how financially ahead are they actually? Social media magnifies this, where high consumption is proof of high status. It's a survival instinct. Humans copy what their tribe celebrates. You end up buying something not because it improves your life, but because it prevents embarrassment or someone else has it. Actual story about this is my 11-year-old daughter. She wanted something called a Labubu, if I got that right. And it's actually a silly little hairy stuffy thing. And I asked her, okay, why do you want one? And she said her exact words, well, everybody else has one. Okay, well, I don't know. I'd have to look into it. And I checked the prices and they range anywhere from $12 to $100. And I'm like, I told her I'd really think hard about this choice. If you really need it, or if you want one just to fit in with everybody else. And thankfully, to her credit, she chose not to get one. She's like, no, I don't want one after all, because in 3 weeks, her exact words again, well, there'll be something else that comes out. I'm so proud of her for that. The real truth is that wealth grows quietly and in the background. That those people that are flaunting and showing their wealth or having to prove how much money they have, well, there may be just one rate hike away from panic. Being immune to comparison doesn't mean that you're settling for less. It means that you're measuring progress by independence, not appearance. Lesson 5, more is always better. The feeling of more runs deeply in Canada. More things, more square footage, more cars, more vacations, more experiences.
More champagne, sir?
Are you out of your mind, Jeeves? More everything.
But when middle class wages aren't rising, but the cost of living is, trying to keep that pace and keep up with everything is just exhausting. We celebrate GDP growth, proof that the country is thriving, yet many households feel more poor year after year. That's because national wealth is compounding at the top. That's because, well, a majority of the assets are controlled by the top 10 or 1%, while the middle class chase the newest upgrade. Morgan talks about greed and envy among human tendencies and devotes an entire chapter just to this subject alone. He says it's important to realize what's enough and not to take on unnecessary risks for a small chance of a potential gain. Be satisfied or realize what's enough for you. A new upgrade to the iPhone 23 or 24, whatever it's at, a nicer car, a patio renovation. Each upgrade feels harmless in isolation, but collectively, when you put them all together, it can really hinder your wealth progress. I coached a small business owner in Vancouver who was earning well into the 6 figures, but as his business grew and expanded, his expenses grew alongside it. He didn't have a clear definition of what was enough, where his business should be at, and to set a limit and cap it. It's not about not rewarding yourself, it's about seeing as an investment into your future self. I've been there too. When you've had a totally crap day, you come home, you're just burnt, exhausted.
Did you have a tough day, dear?
Yes.
So you treat yourself and you buy something else. Well, you're saying yes to your present self, but you're saying no to your future self. For Canadians, it starts here, deciding what is enough for you to avoid the lifestyle squeeze and to just realize you have to let the rest go. Conclusion. The truth is that Canada's wealth gap isn't widening by accident, Part of the reason is because of people's mindset. Another reason is actually because of wealth hoarders and multi-millionaires and billionaires, but that's a story for another video. Hey, in case you're new to my channel, I'm Aaron, a 20-year corporate accountant and analyst living in Western Canada. I talk about personal finance, investing, and investment portfolios. Subscribe if you want to learn more and if this is of interest to you. The old story of job security, home ownership, and showing off your success doesn't work anymore. It just doesn't. You have to adapt mentally to this new age. What worked in the 1970s and 80s doesn't all apply anymore. Sure, live below your means, but home ownership, accumulating debt is a good thing. All of these you really have to question as they no longer fit the day and age that we live in now. The wealth focus on the accumulation and appreciation of assets. I realize the contradiction between what I just said, home ownership, and now saying focus on the accumulation of assets. Stay with me here. Also, patience and compounding. While some people in the middle class focus on appearance and consumption, we can no longer afford that. When prices rise faster than wages, only assets keep pace. That's why renting while investing can sometimes beat home ownership. Trying to work really hard and get small incremental raises, but not investing in assets, you're really doing yourself a disservice. The real definition of financial security is more psychology than it is numerical factors. It's the confidence that money supports your financial choices, not limits them. If you learn to unlearn these 5 financial lessons and follow the psychology of money, like Morgan states, you'll be better financially ahead than many other people. The new Canadian mindset is not focusing on the amount you earn, but what you get to keep and how it grows. And if you're interested in another great video about how I was able to save $20,000 using practical, everyday steps and psychology, no fancy gimmicks, check out this next video here.